looked at it, I thought to myself that that same pink smoke should be outside of the black church, because there were so many of your mamas that should have been the pastor, so many of your mamas that should have been the bishop, so many of your mamas that kept that church together, and they made your mama pray from the floor and preach from the floor. But God said, I'm getting ready to shift some stuff, that I'm getting ready to raise some women. If they're good enough to fry chicken, they're good enough to lay hair. If they're good enough to sing in the choir, they're good enough to be deacons. Shame on us if you don't recognize the oil that's on your mama's life. And your mama didn't have no armor bearer, your mama ain't have no reserve parking space, but your mama knew how to pray down strongholds and bind and loose whatever was out of order. Maybe the Vatican will have it right now that they got a Creole sitting in there. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Catholics know you can't celebrate Jesus until you thank God for the mama. God, every time you get a raise, you ought to be thanking God for your mama. Every time you get a promotion, you ought to thank God for your mama. Every time you get an advancement in this life, you ought to thank God for your mama. Can I pause right here? Somebody just give God glory for the woman in your life that made some sacrifices that you still can't see. For 2 days last week in Rome, there was a group of women who kept issuing out pink smoke. Said everybody's waiting on white smoke, but there was a group of Catholic women outside of the Vatican issuing up pink smoke, saying that maybe the Catholic Church will now recognize the weight of glory that rests on women. That women ought to be able to preach, that women ought to be able to give the Eucharist, that women ought to be able to function in high ordinance. I'm telling you, 3 of y'all should be doing somersaults. Not one woman in the Bible ever prayed and didn't get her prayer answered. Y'all just missed what I just said. I said there ain't one woman in the Bible that ever prayed to God and didn't get her prayer answered. The reason why you still standing is God is answering your dead mother's prayer. God is still responding to prayers that was prayed over you while you were still in your mother's womb. You are the answer to your mother's prayers. You may be seated. Your mama had the gift of prophecy. Your mama had the gift of prophecy but never called herself a prophet. Your mama tried to tell you who your real friends were. God, y'all ain't saying nothing to me. Your mama told you, leave that boy alone. She taught you how to fix your face before you get out the car. She told you, when we go in this store, don't ask me for nothing. I need some real people right here. She told you, now if I gotta come up to that school, there's gonna be a problem. Your mama told you, now let me tell you one more time, and I'ma shut all of this down. I need some of y'all raised by a black mama. Now don't make me take all these toys back if you mess up one more time. Your mama taught you how to stay out of grown folk business and stay in a child's place. Those of y'all under 40 don't know what I'm talking about. But those of y'all that had an old school mama, I dare you to just blink at somebody and say, I know what he talking about. Needed your mama and didn't even know it. It was a mother who taught Toni Morrison to write. It was a mother that taught bell hooks how to read. He was a mother that taught Fannie Lou Hamer her alphabet. He was a mother that taught Dorothy Height to lift her head. He was a mother that forced Jesus to turn water into wine. He was a mother that taught Shirley Chisholm she could be anything. He was a mother that taught Marcus Garvey to think larger than himself. It was a mother that taught Tupac to believe in black power. It was a mother that taught W.E.B. Du Bois that Harvard is still obtainable. It was a mother that told Hank Aaron to color outside of the lines. It was a mother that taught Martin Luther King Jr. that he had what it took to change America. And it was a mother that taught Jamal Harrison Bryant how to pray. You ought to thank God for whatever your mother gave to you. It's what those tools are what help you to become where it is that you are today. Some of y'all can't give God glory because you ain't had a mama to teach you nothing. But those of you that got a mama that taught you the good and the bad of life, taught you. Come on, I'm gonna go old school. If they lied, they steal. If they steal, they kill. Your mama taught you something. Take a licking and keep on ticking. Folk don't even understand how it is that you've taken the blows of life, but you are weeble wobble and you will not fall down. Come on, there's somebody that ought to acknowledge that the strength you got ain't because you know Delta. The strength you got ain't because you are AKA. The strength you got ain't because you know Zeta. But look at your neighbor and say, I got it from my mama. I look good. I look fly. Come on, I can't hear nobody. Oh, my mama. You ought to thank God in this moment that the best of me, I got it from my mama. What can't you conquer if your mama was able to do more with less? What is it that you think you ain't gonna be able to do? When your mama was able to keep her head without the benefit of therapy, how you think you gonna throw in the towel now? When your mama never had a savings account or an investment portfolio, but she said, I'll look to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord. There are 500 of you who ought to be getting another dose of strength, because with everything your mother went through, she should have had a nervous breakdown. She